Welcome to the Booze and the Bees. I'm the Queen Bee.
And I'm Sambu.
And welcome to our podcast. Currently about to do some research for this week because we're pretty busy. We're going to be visiting some grow houses and doing a podcast with one of the grow houses and stuff. So we were going to do some research and thought we might just do it on the podcast.
Yeah, we figured we'd do some train of thought. We didn't really plan what was going on today, and said, if we're going to be working, we have this cool office space, and we may as well talk and keep the conversation going and try to think of some questions. And you were taking some notes the other day when we were watching some Joe Rogan podcast clips, right? Just taking some notes on, okay, this is kind of the techniques people are using. This is how you talk to people better. And we were like, why weren't we recording? And I was like, it would be kind of silly for us to actually have a good conversation and not record it.
We do that a lot.
Yeah. So even though we were like, do we really want to? And we didn't really want to. And we're like, why not? If we don't use it, then it literally changes nothing in our life. And we're actually working in a place that at least we're sitting up straight, So that's good. Okay. So.
But no tokes right now for me. I'm really low on flour.
We're out.
So I know it's going to be our first episode.
Oh,
episode
no.
4.
Episode 4.
First episode with no cheers.
No. Cheers. No cheers.
It'd be like that sometimes. Y'all know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a weird mental day, too. It was super positive yesterday, and then it was a weird overthinking day. But then I worked out, and
it sort of helps.
Yeah, I just stopped thinking.
And I've heard that a lot too, where if you try to get your mind straight so your body starts to feel better, your body starts to feel anxious, you start to feel tense, you start to feel a little depressed or lonely. If you try to get your mind straight to get your body straight, it doesn't really work, because then your mind sort of reflects in your body and you just can't get it to work. But if you make your body work right, then your brain just says, oh, we're okay. Because I'm used to this, So doing something physical with your body that helps calm your body down, or doing deep breathing where you're like, oh, I normally breathe like this when I'm calm, so therefore my brain is tricked into being calm. You don't want to do it the other way around, try to trick your body. So
yeah.
I think that's a good thing. So, and I'm really proud of you for working out. That's awesome.
Thanks.
But yeah, we definitely go through some of these slumps sometimes where, we'll have a lot of momentum, and then it gets to being one of those overthinking moments where it's, are we doing too much? Are we doing too little? Or, we don't agree or don't know what to do. And a lot of anxiety comes, and then all it ever ends up doing is just ruining all the progress. Because it went from, we had no clients, we weren't doing much, to, oh, now we're getting these people who want to book with us, to, are we even doing the right thing? And it's like, well, the universe gave us 3 people. That's huge. Why wouldn't we listen to it for a bit? But at the same time, I definitely see where it's coming from, but it's just one of those things we have to work through. And that's kind of what we're doing on this podcast now, is working through some of that and just saying, let's just tackle what's ahead of us. We've already got a full week's book schedule, and there's time in between those clients that we can do other work and find new ones as well.
Yeah, I don't know if trigger was watching that podcast this morning and seeing all the views, and I was just watching it with Minnie, and I was like, this content is awful, but she likes it. Right? Even though she's barely watching or listening to what they're saying, I'm sitting there listening, and I'm just I can't believe they're getting millions of views each podcast, right? And I think that just kind of affected me without me realizing, maybe. And then I just started overthinking, because it's we haven't really seen the results yet from this, and I'm just I don't know, I have a really good high positive day, so maybe my body's I'm going to test you today.
Make sure you're keeping it strong. And then I also tried to bring up, this is what hard looks like. And I know a lot of you don't see what we do and behind the scenes. I work full time, and then we come, and it's not just doing the podcast, but there's a lot of equipment that goes into everything we do. There's a lot of effort that goes into everything we do. She works constantly in terms of always having something to record. She's always reaching out to people. And we do a lot in a lot of different directions. And that could be part of our downfall, but then also part of our strength is that we are determined. But it can definitely get to you. I mean, after quite a few years of this, to see someone who's like 18 or 19 just kill it, and you're just like, why them, right? Like, what are they doing? And yeah, it could definitely hurt you, but you know, they got lucky. And I heard one thing is the harder you work, the luckier you get. So it's like the more you put yourself out there, and the more good work you do, the more odds you have of getting lucky. Some people get lucky sooner, but that's not you, you know. And I also heard another thing I really like to take is some people have it easy, but that's not the life I chose. So I'm going to have to do it the hard way. And the way to do it is work harder. Some people don't have to. That's not for us. So.
And also too, like, it's not like I'm trying to put them down and say they're not doing anything. Like, it was such high quality stuff. Like, they all looked good and put together, and like they were no dead air, right? Like, they were really good at entertaining for their audience. And plus, that was like just their podcast channel, and it had millions of views. So all of them separately probably had their own channels with millions of followers, right? Like, it's not like they're not working, and I'm sure they're putting out really good quality videos every day. And it's like, that's why I think I was like struggling today when I was like, I want to focus on my stuff and make it all high quality. But then it's like, that isn't even like the business plan. Yeah. It's like, we're trying to do our business stuff. So I keep getting conflicted because I do want to be a creator and just do that as a living. But it's really difficult. And like he said, like, I guess just lucky for some people. And yeah.
And you just have to think about the competition too. I mean, the competition in the YouTube space is extraordinarily high. And also, if they're 19, they have a couple million followers, the odds of them having just extraordinarily wealthy parents that hooked them up with things that we could never do.
That too.
You know, imagine a 14-year-old with a Lamborghini. That automatically goes viral because it's such a rare thing to see.
Yeah. That
it's very big. And also their target audience, which is a bunch of children who watch YouTube, they're going to watch it because they want to be the 14-year-old with a Lamborghini, not realizing that mommy and daddy bought it for them. And that now they can buy it themselves because they do put in a lot of effort. It's not like they just woke up and didn't do anything, you know, but they definitely had a head start.
Yeah.
And it's okay that we didn't have a head start, but we definitely have to hit a different angle. And the number one thing that makes people famous, or sorry, not famous, makes people wealthy in the United States is businesses. That makes more people wealthy than anything else in the United States and therefore the world, because we're the wealthiest country. So when you really think about it, it's not going to be fame. It's not going to be being a star athlete. It's not going to be being a famous actor, actress. It comes from business. So if we focus on that and focus all the skills we built in social media towards business, we're going to be successful. It's just going to be a different amount of work. Both are hard, different amount, but a higher odds doing the business route for sure.
Yeah.
Because in that one, you're pretty much guaranteed to win if you keep improving and keep working on it. Like, you can't lose in that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw that out there. Maybe you can lose. But I hear if you're not quitting, you're winning. So
I haven't quit. Not yet. Not happening. Not like on the plan. Just, yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah. And look, this is what hard looks like. I mean, a lot of people understand we work weekends, we work vacations. We haven't been able to go fishing for 2 years because we've been busy doing our work and taking classes and courses and doing work for free. And it's hard. It's hard, you know, and you have to struggle with that mindset of, you know, we wish it could be one thing and it's just not that thing. You know, and maybe one day it will be, right? But it's just like, if we just focus on tackling one dragon at a time, you know, and we just slay the dragon one at a time, like, something good will happen. I can't say exactly what it is, but I definitely see us getting momentum and us starting to grow. I think cannabis is a good place for us to do it. It's a booming business, but also there's just, when we were looking up brand ambassador stuff, I mean, people are getting paid like 18, 19 an hour to do that. It's like, who would do that for that little money? It's like a ton of work. But maybe I'm wrong. You know, I think just a lot of people like the cannabis space, and so they're willing to work for no money. I heard something in the news today. They broke down what wages are and what housing costs and food costs and everything is. Middle class today is $130,000 a year. That's middle class. Is $130K a year. That astounds me. It's like, how does anyone get by? You know, I worked for a decade to finally hit six figures, and it's only six figures if I hit bonuses. And it's like, I worked a decade for that. I was a top student. I got A's and B's through college. I graduated with a 3.5 in a very hard discipline. And I'm below middle class. I had no debt. I had full scholarships. And it's like, what do people have to do in the United States to survive? It's just so unbelievably unacceptable that 130K is middle class now.
Yeah.
And that people are willing to work for $36,000 a year just because they like cannabis. But I mean, that might just be the downfall of the cannabis industry, is that the employee base is just willing to work for a fun time because it's a fun job where you get to smoke, and most jobs make it illegal to smoke. Even when it's legal in your state, they make it not allowed. But we just need to go in and just show them what we can do and say, look, we're about results. We're not about getting paid by the hour. That's not our gig. We're here to go make you guys millions, and we want some of that. You know, that's what we want to do. So, cool. Well, do we want to start on podcast questions, or where do we want to go?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Dead air. Let's go. But we can always like cut some of this stuff out, you know. Or you can like talk about experiences or emotions or something when we type questions. Like just trade off on who's talking.
Yeah. I'm just kind of still in a weird mental space, so it's like.
Why don't you talk about that? I think a lot of people have anxiety that watch you. Probably want to know that they're not alone.
You're not alone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. It's hard when you can't even explain it to yourself. Podcast questions for a cannabis cross. Simple, straight to the point. We really like ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT is great for giving you kind of the starting point. You definitely don't want to be a robot. Like ChatGPT definitely gives you a lot of very robotic answers, but it helps get your mind flowing. It's kind of like an idea engine. And then from there, you put in your own personal experience and your own human experience, and you can ask different things. So like challenges and success stories, what have been some of the biggest challenges you faced in the industry? Could you share a particular successful? I don't want it to sound
like that, you know? I don't want it to be like...
It's very robotic.
I think so.
Oh, it's very robotic. Look, these are just questions to get your mind flowing. And I mean, for instance, we're not going to say like who the people are, you know, talking about them right now. But we've had some people come to us, and it's a very competitive market, right? This is something that it kind of sells itself, but you have a lot of people trying to break into the market. There's a lot of government restrictions. You can only grow so much of it, and it's just very highly competitive, right? So if you grow a certain amount of the product, try to sell it, your grow operation costs a ton of money, your employees cost a ton of money, they might work for peanuts, like we said, people will work for nothing because they like the industry, so they might get a lot of volunteers. But at the end of the day, only like one or two people are taking a lot of money, and it's the people who own the operation. Like they got the government rights. They're not the farmers. They're the people who knew how to schmooze the government over and got the rights. Or at least that's what I'm assuming, right? And that's something we can learn here is like, where's the money go, right? Because I know it's not to your guys' pockets. But then we see some people flying on jets from Australia where they don't even smoke, and they own the company because they got the government to sign off that they're okay as the business owner. So who's really making the money in that? And what are your challenges? Like, how do you get out of the black? I know you had to take massive loans to get these facilities going. So, I mean, that question, though, is robotic. You could say, we know it can be a really competitive market. Like, how do you guys make money doing this? Like, are your margins, like, how are you able to make margins?
So that's what the podcast is going to be about, though, stuff like that? Because I want it to be more, like, personal stuff. Like, I want to know about, like, him and hear his stories and, like, make it entertaining and then also relatable, because it's like marketing. I mean, like, unless it's like what our podcast is like marketing advice and tips. I just feel like that's a different direction.
I feel like it's a different direction, but I also think it's like a really worthwhile direction to have in there, right? Like if you did like 60%, 70% was about like the personal and the fun stuff, But we have to imagine too, right? Picture I'm a business. What do I want? Money. I want money. I want customers. And I provide a solution. I provide a good or a service, and I want money. I don't want to do a podcast, but if a podcast makes me money, that's great. Now, what's going to make me money as a client in the cannabis industry? I don't think it's talking about my personal life. It might be talking about new strains coming out. It might be talking about new ways of cultivating. Like that might be something cool, because they were talking about there's like a way to get certain genomes and maximize your crop, you know, like you get the proper families, like the phenotypes or something. And that could be something cool, because then you're saying, I have the best stuff, I've got the best grow equipment, I've got the best team who knows how to trim, I'm top tier. You know, we're a top tier facility, we can grow this much, and this is why it's good for the consumer. Or, hey, maybe people who use this technique, we've moved away from it because it makes the feeling or the effect of the drug worse, you know. So that could be really good for their consumer, right? That would bring them money, is talking about how they are better than the competition. Or if they're competing on price and saying, hey, we're just a local, land-grown, natural facility, that could be something really good for them. If they're like not competing to be the highest tier edge, but they're like, we're an affordable option for the everyday consumer, and it's a, you know, they say they're a healthy option or an organic option. You know, you want to touch on what makes them unique in the space so that the consumer can take that. I think that's the most important thing. As far as the marketing tips go, that would be more for us, because we kind of want to show the industry that we know what we're doing. And how would we know what we're doing? Is we ask people, and if we're going to ask people, we may as well ask them on the podcast. And if we need to cut it, we cut it, right? But I think it'd be cool to have marketing insights, because what if their marketing sucks and they have no emails? So they, like, say you have a New Year's special. Say you're a consumer. You probably are if you're watching our channel. Say you're a consumer and you're like, man, I don't have enough for my can of goodies because I'm broke, but it's the new year. And what if one of the grow houses had a discount at one of the dispensaries and you didn't know about it? What if you got an email and it said, hey, it's 30% off today? Boom. Well, at least you knew. Like, you wouldn't have known. There's so many times when we get discounts to places we didn't know what was going on. So I think a lot of people would sign up for those voluntarily just so they could get these discounts. And it helps them, because they're not allowed to market on like Facebook or TikTok, really. So I think talking about marketing could be really helpful for us to say, it's like, you know, are you guys running email campaigns? How do they run? Do you guys do specials? You know, stuff like that is really good, because that also, it helps the consumer understand and be aware that they're doing things. And it helps us learn about what their struggles are. It's like, oh man, I'm going through my 10th banned account. It's like, oh, you keep getting banned. Like, what are you showing? Are you showing a lot of XYZ that's getting you banned? Why are we not showing the after effects, like showing people going to a park or showing people fishing, or like, you know, like I'm just going to throw this out there, like the Cialis commercials where it's just some old couples laughing at each other. You're not showing them going to bed together because he's got a heart on. You're showing them like having fun at the park and like walking their golden retriever, right? So it's like, in this industry, maybe you could say, it's like, obviously we're not going to show the act. Maybe we could show, you know, the fun parts of it. And that kind of helps them with their marketing, which kind of supports us, right? Because that supports our endeavor. The more that we're able to show what we do, the better it is for us. The more we're able to show what they do, the better it is for them, and everybody wins. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Are you co-hosting with me then for the podcast?
I don't think so, because we only got the 2 mics. I'd be behind the scenes, so I think it'd be good to have you be like the primary host.
Okay. So I definitely have to then just write down like all that kind of stuff, because I'm not that like knowledgeable about like that kind of like marketing and like what kind of info we would want to ask them for and stuff. And since it's just like not like my go-to like knowledge, it's more like you. So I'm just want to make sure that I have it all prepped then for the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, we could like swap in and out and be like, we're the social edge. Like, she's the social edge and I'm like more the marketing back end guy. That's something we could do. Because like, you find the trends, like, you know what's trending. And I mean, that's something you could talk about too, is like, hey, these are trending. Do you do these videos? Do you try to grow your social account?
I
Well,
follow them.
well, the audience doesn't know them, right? Like, and that's the thing. You got to remember, like, pretend you know nothing about them, even though you do, right? Because it would be kind of foolish to go into a podcast and know nothing about the person you're interviewing.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to go in with the false naivety, right? You have to go in and say, like, I don't know you at all because the audience doesn't know you at all. So I don't know anything you're doing. And so come at it like that. Because when you're like, I know they don't. I'm like, well, they don't. They don't know that. So you should bring it up anyway and act like you don't know anything about them.
Okay.
And that also gets them to say it out loud too, right? Because if they're like, oh no, we're not doing anything on social media at all. Our page sucks. It takes me like 2 hours to do anything. It's like, well, we do work. We do that for you. That is part of our service offer to people. Like, we don't just go do these podcasts for fun. We're not getting paid to do these podcasts. So it's like we want to make sure we hammer home that we do this kind of work, and the fact that we're going through this much effort prior to even getting a job, I mean, just shows like goodwill. Is like we're here to like help you grow for nothing. Like, we're doing that for nothing. We do strategy sessions for no amount of money, and we just want to help you out. But if I really want to help you out, like really, really, truly want to help you, and I do, well, then you need to pay us, because we're going to make you money. Because you want to make money. It's your job. And it's our job to make money too. So we need to go out and tell you that we make you money and that makes us money. So use us. Or use someone else. Or do it yourself. The strategy session's free. We're here on a podcast. We're all working together. We do marketing. Right? And the more of these we get under our belt, the easier it's going to get. Because we should realistically only have like 10 questions. So what are some of the questions you were thinking of?
I really just was, because like I just don't know much about what he does and stuff, so I was just gonna kind of ask him, like I kind of want to ask, like, like their journey to getting to this job, like how did they get into it and stuff like that. And
Are you taking notes on some of the questions?
Yeah.
Is that on there? I like that.
Thanks. Okay, I'll write it down.
Because like I think the journey of how you got somewhere is really important, because like there's a lot of these people, they started in the industry before it was legal, and they may have gone to prison, their parents may have gone to prison, their brother may have gone to prison, all for something that's currently legal, and they're still in prison, right? Like their family members or friends. And so some of these people have foundations that they run to kind of help people with their legal struggles, and I think that's something really important to touch on, because that's something that really matters to them, and it's a real important goal that goes beyond money, because life isn't just about money, but money becomes a tool to do the things like helping people who've gone to prison for cannabis use and cannabis sales and cannabis growing when it wasn't legal, where it now is. Like, could you imagine being in prison right now for a crime you committed that people just do legally? It's insane. Like, a cop could grow right now, and yet you're in prison for it because you did it before a piece of paper was signed. And so there's definitely foundations like that a lot of these people are in. So I think talking about their journey, seeing how they got there, when they got there, what inspires them to continue doing it, I think it goes deeper than what a lot of people might think. It's like, oh yeah, it's weed, everyone just wants to smoke it. It's like, that's not why a lot of these people get into it. And a lot of these people are very intelligent, especially these people operating the grow houses. They really care about the genetics of the plants, and like they're very intelligent people. So they're deeper, and I think that's really cool. And I love those questions from you, right? I think your intuition goes pretty deep into it.
Yeah, so I figured just like we could do first 15 minutes with me, and it could be like personal journey chat, and then the second 15 minutes could be like the marketing business chat.
Or like
with you.
Or even if it's like a 20-10 split, or if it's like a 30-10 split where you're talking to 30 minutes, because we talk for 30 minutes, we didn't even try to. Like our one yesterday, we tried to make it short because we were really tired and didn't want to be on that long. It was still like over 30 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what are you saying?
Just do the marketing thing is like real quick at the end. Because I think the marketing part, like you're right, is definitely not, it doesn't hit their target audience the best. It's more for them to say, yeah, we want to pursue social media. And I think that goes into just like, why did you want to come on the podcast today? I think something like that is a really important question. It's like, oh, why did I want to come on the podcast today? It's like, well, because I want exposure, probably, I would imagine, right? Because you've got quite a few thousand followers who watch you. It's like, yeah, I want exposure.
Exposure, and I
get out
just
there.
think it's like a cool experience that not a lot of people get offered to do.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't think they like we're looking at it as like
As a business thing.
business thing. I think it's I think it's more business for us than them for sure. It kind of
Yeah.
sounds like probably like a fun thing for them to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, maybe we don't even bring up the marketing thing and just see how it goes. Maybe we just talk about the marketing thing at the back end, you know. I think it'd be a neat way for us to have it, but like who's going to watch a 40-minute podcast to get to the end and then say, "Oh, you guys do marketing, right?" So maybe it's not even worth it. Maybe right, just make it like a fun thing. I mean, what does that one guy do who's got the glass shop? That he does his podcast, the smoking dude who did his stuff for like 8 years before he got popular.
The YOLO guy?
YOLO, yeah, him.
What about him?
Doesn't he like normally start the beginning with something business related and then he just goes right into the whole everything else? Like he doesn't ask business
I
questions.
feel
that
like
much.
it's usually a sponsor or something, right?
Yeah,
in the beginning?
it's like a sponsor or he's talking about his warehouses. Because something as simple as just talking about your warehouses shows that you do business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe it would be the opposite. Maybe I don't even jump in because you're a good host. I'm good behind the camera instead.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go for the marketing approach. It's like, yeah, we do marketing, we do this or something in a way that just doesn't sound skeezy. I mean, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I don't want to be telling him. Like, I would tell the camera separately.
Maybe you tell the camera separately and you
No,
can edit
not
in
them,
later.
Not my
right?
guest.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't want
'cause he
them
do- 'cause
I
he
don't want
doesn't
them
do it
to
to the
feel
guest
like I'm
either.
sitting there trying to pitch them and
Yeah.
trying to.
No, you're right.
I want
think-
them to be comfortable, and that's why it's like I wanted to be personal stuff first, and like get them
Yeah.
comfy and chatting. And,
I totally agree. I think you're right. And that's why it's good to have these talks. And that's why it's like us, we're doing like, we don't have a set strategy here. We're talking together.
but
and that's
like
why it's
weed
fun to do
people
this.
do love the nerdy stuff too, and that's what I'm
They're
not
huge
good at
nerdy.
talking about.
They're
It's
big
like
nerdy.
that pheno thing you keep bringing up. I have no idea what that even is, and they were
Oh.
talking about it last time we were at the grow house, and I was
Neither,
just sitting
neither
there
do
like,
any of these people. So if you're thinking about it, ask like you don't know anything.
yeah, because I don't.
Also, because you don't. So it's like a win-win. Honestly, you're probably better equipped to ask these questions. I think the one thing might be, I don't know how you respond to like scientific things, because like I do engineering, so I get really nerdy when someone brings up some engineering thing, right? So like we were talking about fertilizer, and there's this one word I didn't really get. I didn't understand what it did, but then he explained to me, it's like, okay, these bond like a handshake and these bond really tight, and that's ionic versus covalent bonding, which I learned in school. She wouldn't know that, but it's kind of interesting, though, even though I'm not going to be getting into the chemistry of it. He's like, well, this kind of helps prevent them from ionic bonding and does its own bonding that's easier to break, and so it allows the minerals to get into the soil better. It's like you can kind of geek out on that, and it's just by being curious. But it's hard to be curious about something you really have no idea about. Like, oh yeah, it's
Yeah, I
when
don't
these
know.
things bond like
I
this
don't
and
know
this,
what
it might
he's
just
talking about.
yeah, it might just come off like, oh,
Cool.
yeah, you know, it's like that might not be the most fun way.
I'm sure I could try to think and like just have them keep dumbing it down for me, you know?
Yeah, 'cause it literally is just. I mean, and if you do something just like a gentle like laugh is like, I love it, and I really love how much you're going into it. I still have no idea. Is
Yeah.
there any way you like dumb this down a bit for me, like because I don't get it, or like how
And then
how
they'll
could
always
me?
just make it funnier and entertaining too, which is what
Yeah.
I want anyway. For
It's
our
just like
stuff.
how could me, a peasant amongst kings, understand what you're saying and actually help you with your goal? Because like part of it is like this pheno chasing. They're trying to find the best strains possible, and so they want people in the community to get into it. I'm like, well, if only 4 people know what it does or what it means, like how are they going to help you with that?
Right.
So I think that goes into the just being more. How would I help you with that? Just me, just a usual consumer. Like, what would I do? Because not everyone's going to know how to grow stuff and tell you the strain's really good, you know. But it's like, would you like it if more people gave you reviews of strains? And you gave them like a checklist and you say, hey, download my PDF checklist and like we're going to come out with the best strain for you. And when we come up with the latest strain, given your check boxes, then we're going to inform you via email or something. Because that could be cool. And that's a way the everyday consumer could actually help the cannabis industry in terms of finding the best strain. where they wouldn't have been able to before if they're only asking for growers. That's like 7 people, right? That's not a lot. And I'm sure all those growers are working with a grow house, realistically. So I think that's interesting. So yeah, it's just about being curious and making a funny joke like as a peasant amongst kings or something, right? Like whatever comes to mind. I think that kind of lightens the mood and just lets them see it's like, why do I need to dumb it down anymore? And it doesn't feel like a 21 questions grill. You just sort of laugh easily and make it be like, because they're smart. They're really smart. They're not good at social media, which you're really smart in that. And you might be able to like, oh yeah, you just have to post your reel at this time and this time, and then here's your engagement numbers. And they're like, I mean, they don't know. So we can all be smart at different things, and it's just about being curious.
For sure, for sure.
Okay, and then this one says there's 3 fun and quirky questions. If you could name your own cannabis strain, what would you call it and why? And obviously they could, they do all the time. But I think that's kind of funny.
Oh,
it's
I
like
could ask them, like, do you pick the names?
And like, why do you pick those names?
Why?
Do you pick them because the parent strains? Because you know how there's like Northern Lights is a strain, White Widow's a strain. It's like you could call them White Lights or something. It's like if you mixed them together. Oh no, I have to sneeze.
Oh man. Bless you.
Well, we got to cut that's for sure.
No,
that came out of nowhere.
I don't sit there. Podcasts, you're not supposed to
cutting it.
cut like
We're not
every
cutting
little
it.
thing. It's supposed to be a one single
You
file.
get the sneeze. I have allergies, and we're doing that. Oh, that was awful. I tried my hardest, chat.
Imagine a world where plants can talk. What do you think a cannabis plant would say about a day in the grow house?
How ridiculous. And that would be one of the high questions. I wonder if you can smoke with them. Because they're like, they're on the job, right? You probably can't.
Yeah, that's true.
You probably can't.
I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
I don't even have anything to smoke, so that's...
Well, I mean, they do.
I know.
But that's kind of lame. It's like, okay, hey, you're my guest. Do you want to give me some?
Yeah.
And
We'll just see how it goes, and like, we could always come back and do another episode with them.
yeah, you could do like an after hours episode where you do it like beyond the event.
Yeah, I like that. Do you
Yeah.
pick the names and why? I like asking about that. And
Yeah, I like the names thing because their names are so ridiculous. Like, who comes up with these? So bizarre.
But I think this is a good start, at least, because I was just kind of like,
Just everywhere with it, yeah.
I didn't have any start for the podcast, and we go film it in 2 days. So if you guys have any questions for a grow house,
Yeah.
comment, because I'll ask them. I'll be there in 2 days.
And remember, like, what's your favorite part about cannabis? Like, what is it? Do you like orange? Do you like purple? Do you like more CBD? Like more sativa, indica? What do you prefer, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. Good thing to ask.
I feel like we're probably done with this episode.
You got enough good question and stuff that you think you
For
have
now,
place to go?
I'll think of more. I'm just still in a weird mental, and maybe like eating and just not thinking about work stuff for a little bit might help. Because it's been
we can play our game.
all work. All work on my brain this morning. It's just like good and bad.
Yeah, and it's like not the productive work. It's the like stress out about it work. And like I say, I mean, it's been this and for the last like 4 years. When we get good momentum in anything, in any of the industries we've done, you realize there's more to it, and that maybe it's not the right thing, but then you shut down. But you've been getting a lot better at not shutting down and being able to find ways to be productive.
Definitely.
Because, like, if this had happened last year, she would have shut down, and that would have been it for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Nothing would have happened at all. And then she'd be starting from nothing. And I think it's just a way people stay in their comfort zone, which if you're in the growth zone, it's not comfortable. You need to be able to lift yourself up. And it's hard and it's confusing and it's scary and you don't know what to do. And you self-sabotage just so you can stay in your comfort zone. Because if you take 2 weeks without doing anything, now all the clients you're going to talk to aren't there. You lose all your subs. You have to work to get them all back again. You've made no videos for people, so you've made no money. And like that would be, it was every time. Like she would make $500, $600 on like a couple lives or talking to some people, and it'd be like a really great day. and then shut down for 2 weeks, and now back to zero. So when you make $30, you feel excited, and it's like that's been the cycle. And so now you're finally, it's like, oh, we booked the week with 3 different people, and now let's work on how not to self-sabotage and just throw that out the window, because like
Yeah.
you're finally getting momentum, and it's not $500 or $600, but it's there and it's in your grasp, and it's not comfortable. So don't throw it away. And like I said, last year it would have been tough, and this year you're handling it well.
it's all we
You're
can
trying
do
to come
is
up.
get better and better. And even earlier, we got a little sassy with each other, and all I had to do is walk away, and then work out. And he took a nap.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling good. I was coughing all night. It was horrible.
But yeah, we're getting better.
Yeah. So it's just about how to manage the emotional state and realize like it's not going to be easy, and we're not going to know what to do.
I realized in that moment, because we had already talked for an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and I was just like, us talking about this isn't resolving anything. It really wasn't, because like we talk about this all the time, but it was kind of more of like a stress talk, and it was like I should just not talk about it when I'm stressed like that. Like I should just
Yeah.
be doing stuff.
Because it's not going to help, especially when it's like we'll say the same thing in different ways or say different things, and literally there's no answer. It's like, okay, so if this is not the answer,
no
what's the
answer.
answer? There's no answer. It's just stress.
Yeah,
It's just anxiety, and there's no fix.
right.
And so it literally doesn't matter what you say or what happens. There's no direction changing. There's no winning. It's literally just stress, and we either choose to break down and throw it out the window and then start at zero again, which sucks, and then we kick the can down the road for another 5 years until we're miserable, or we just say we're going to do what we said we were going to do, which was book with people, which you're doing. So it's working. And then see what comes next, because we literally won't know what happens next until we do it. And that's the entrepreneur journey, is that you're just not going to know until you do it. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, well, now we're back at square one. But at least we would know. At least we're not back at square one having learned nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always learning. But thank y'all for watching.
Yeah, and that can even be the positive message of the day is growth always sucks. And so if your life sucks right now, you're doing good. So keep learning and keep growing, because it should suck. It should be hard. If it's easy, it's too easy. Move on. Do something harder. Is that positive?
Sure.
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay.
All right. Go fuck yourself.
Love y'all.
She's like, I'm not saying it because I'm not about to laugh on this podcast.
It wouldn't make me laugh.
No. Guffaw.
Good
No laughter. Okay, that therapy is bust.
What therapy?
The guffaw laughter, it's done. We've killed it. It was only 3 days. We've killed guffaw laughter therapy.
Actually, this is episode 4.
Oh. 4 days we killed guffaw laughter therapy.
Tomorrow, stay tuned, because hopefully Hamilton's with us in his co-host chair. Surprised he's not with us this time.
Yep.
But we were supposed to practice our 2-camera thing.
Yeah.
So we'll do that tomorrow.
Co-host Cam tomorrow.
And then, then we're going to have a co-host podcast coming soon. So that will come Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned. Love y'all.
Bye.